Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Couch Thoughts podcast. This week it's episode 2. I'm Rocky Persinger. With me, always, Brent Pickens.
How you doing, Rock?
What's up, man? So, got a couple things to go through this week in the world of video games. First off, the last time we left off this podcast at the end of episode 1, we said we were going to go play A Way Out, which is a nice co-op game. We got into that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about E3 and our reactions to some of the games. And I believe we're just going to say right off at the top of the show, we're not going to talk about every game at E3, just the ones we care about.
So basically, the Sony, just whatever Sony did.
Pretty much the Sony conference. That's all we really care about. So first off, we're going to get into A Way Out here. We didn't know exactly what to think going into this game. I believe we saw it at an E3 event a couple years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
I think it was. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So the premise is, for those that don't know, the premise is that it's a co-op game. You can do couch co-op or online co-op. Me and Brent did couch co-op because we really like games like that. And each player controls one person, and there's it's split screen even when you're online, so you can see what the other person is doing. And so it starts out you're in jail, and
only one of you's in jail first.
One of you's in jail at first. So, well, first off, we want to talk about the character selection because so we're sitting in a van, and you're talking, and one of them says, "Oh, well, you just like to get stuff done," and then the other guy's like, "Oh, well, you're just a talker or whatever, you know." So right then and there, we knew. So Brent, why don't you give them a little history about your style of gameplay?
Well, my style is kind of like the John Wayne it. I mean, I'm gonna go in as loud as you can. I'm tearing shit up, just getting the job done.
Yeah, so and I am more of a stealth game player. Yeah, I really enjoy the Metal Gear Solid series. Brent does too, but he plays it a completely different way than I do.
Yeah, there's no stealth in my. Well, it starts out stealthy.
It starts out stealth for like 3 seconds.
I mean, I try. But then somebody always catches me, and then it's just all out. It's all out war. So.
And then he just gets a machine gun and starts killing everything in sight.
Yeah. So.
While I'm ghosting the whole game. So obviously, Brent is going to be the guy that gets shit done, and I'm going to be the guy who's, kind of more laid back.
This is true. And it's really cool, too, because before you pick, it has a bio of it. Like, one of the guy was, I think he was doing like 8 years in prison for armed robbery. And it was cool because my guy, it immediately, I'm in there. I'm at the fence looking, and a bus pulls up, and then you see Rocky's character walking, and you can stand at the fence and just keep walking, watching as he's walking by.
Yeah, so my character is getting admitted into the jail, which he's convicted of murder.
Yeah.
First off, I forget what Brent's character was convicted of. Was it?
It was
a robbery or something.
Yeah, it was armed robbery.
Robbed that big diamond.
Yeah.
They robbed the diamond. So, basically, my character's coming into jail. Brent's character's been there for like 6 months.
Yep.
And you start off, and then I go through the whole process of getting in there and getting checked into jail, I guess. And then Brent's character, so slowly you start seeing he's getting some static from these guys. I guess it's the old crew he used to work with.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name that screwed him over?
Oh shoot!
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Anyway, somebody there. It's like Dallas or something, like that. Dutch or Dallas Dutch was from Red Dead, but anyway, so you kind of find out that you have a common enemy. My character and Brent's character. As we're going through.
Even before that, though, like there's a fight.
Yep.
Because the guy that screwed you over because of the diamond, he hired somebody to kill you. So there's a big fight.
Yep.
And then Rocky's character is on the other side of the fence or something, and and then he gets on the other side. They push him in, and you're back to back, and it's kind of a button mashing. It's like I hit a few buttons, and then Rocky has to hit a few, and it's really good. I mean,
the whole fighting thing is kind of funny because last week we talked about the Quantic Dream games, and the whole fighting aspect of it was like the Quantic Dream games. It was a real time, had to press certain button prompts as the cutscene was going on. So Brent and I are suckers for that type of game anyway. So we were right in on that.
Oh yeah.
So you go through this fight together and you kind of bond over it. And then the two characters decide that they're going to bust out. And I don't know if anybody watches Futurama, but they have they have a stabbing robot on there, and what's his name? It's like Rodriguez or something.
Rodriguez bending. Bending. I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a stabbing robot on Futurama, and Bender and him are in jail together, and he goes, "We're busting out of here," and then he said, and Bender's like, "Well, when are we busting out?" And he's like, 3 minutes ago. And then it's just this. So me and Brent were sitting there saying, "We're busting out of here." And it's just every time. But anyway, so we're busting out of jail, and really, really cool how they get out of jail. So at first, you need a screwdriver, right? So the Brent's character is in like a shop type of thing where he's using a screwdriver, and he hides it outside of a window. Well, then he goes back to my character later, and he's like, "Hey, I think we can bust out of here, but I need that screwdriver that I stashed before." So then, you go up, and they're tarring a roof at the prison.
Typical Shawshank right here.
It's
this game.
Yeah. So yeah, Shawshank, exactly.
So, and I was a big fan of the movie, and there's so many instances in this game. The prison reminds me of Shawshank.
Yeah. There's
a guy that gets you stuff. He reminds me of Red.
Yeah, he's exactly like Red. He's kind of an older black guy type character.
Yeah. Because I don't know how many times throughout, this reminds me so much of Shawshank. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's and that's the aesthetic of the game. Just think about the Shawshank Redemption, and you basically got the aesthetic of it. I mean, there's a guy passing out books just like in Shawshank, and the clothes look exactly like Shawshank. So it's just really cool, the aesthetic that they went for. And then the graphics are pretty darn good.
Yeah, and it looks really good. And the like I said, the combat, everything, the feel for it, and and we didn't know this going in. You make decisions. It gives you option to, you get different ways you can handle the situation.
That's right. Yeah. So Brent's character will typically want to just run straight at it, and then my character would want to kind of sneak around.
Yeah.
So for some reason we chose my way. The two decisions we had in the game, we chose the sneaky way. But that's a replayability factor right there, because you can go back and select the other way.
Yeah, and I mean, we sat down, we played it for like 3 hours, and it was just we still haven't beat it yet. Hopefully, have some time today after the podcast. But the feel for it, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And even later on the game, you're in a canoe, go whitewater rafting.
Yeah.
And each of you have to, you're going down these rapids, and you're trying to, you really got to work with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, and to steer the boat.
Yeah, so one of you paddles on one side and one of you paddles the other, or you can both be on one side really trying to paddle. So we're sitting there screaming at each other, left, right, left. It really forces you to work together, and that's something I don't know if you could really replicate on the online co-op.
Yeah, I don't know how you. Well, and then there's a point when you're still in prison when you have to go back to back.
You go back to back, and there's two walls that are kind of apart, and you're back to back, and each character has his feet pressed against the wall to kind of keep them suspended.
And you have to. I mean, we were. If you get ahead of the other person, too much, you'll fall and die. So if you get ahead of, if I get ahead of Rocky, he has to. I have to stop and wait for him to catch up with me, or
Yeah, and it's this timed button push where this dot is swinging back and forth like a pendulum, and you have to get it in the right zone.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty darn tough. The timing was kind of weird.
Yeah, but then like toward like after we made it halfway, all you could hear is where we're hitting the buttons, and like it was. I mean,
yeah, we were like perfectly in sync.
Yeah.
We were just sitting there hitting the buttons like and like we were like bobbing our heads to like a rhythm of it. But the game really forces you to work together. Like if you need something, like back to the whole they were tarring the roof thing. It does look exactly like Shawshank, but you're trying to get this screwdriver. And it's up. You got to climb up on the roof of the place, and so you climb up there while one person distracts the guards, and then the other person goes and gets the screwdriver. So there's a lot of instances like that where one of you will be trying to. There's an instance where you hide in a laundry bin.
Yep.
One of you pushes the other one in the laundry bin, and then the guy in the laundry bin has to like hide under the laundry while the guards check it and stuff. And so you get a screwdriver, and then you bust through the wall, and then you go a little bit, and then you find out, oh wait, we can't get past this part, we need another tool. So then you have to go back, and the next day, and you get the tool. And then eventually it comes to the night where you think you're getting out of prison. And I don't think this is really spoilers, because one, we haven't finished the game yet, and you actually break out of prison really early.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, we kind of, from the E3 trailer, they only really showed the prison part of it.
Yeah.
But you actually get out of prison pretty early in the game. So while you're busting out, you do all this stuff, and then you're finally busting out. Well, you got to dodge all these searchlights and stuff. Which is a pretty tough part of the game, especially for Brent, who's wanting to roll up in there and crank Skinner on him.
Well, see, even before that, though, the real cool part is you're in cell. Like, me and Rocky's in cells beside each other.
Yeah.
And you break the toilet loose, and you have to jab this.
It's the screwdriver you got earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the roof.
Yeah, you're jabbing the block. You're picking it, and then you got to take screws out, but there's two guards patrolling back and forth. So your partner has to watch him and let you know he's coming. And when he gets so close, you throw the commode back over it, and it looks normal. But I mean, there's a couple times or we almost got caught. I mean, and it's really cool, and you can distract the guard and talk. You can
talk to him for a little while while your buddy is covering back up the traces of being trying to break out. It's like a it's like a Shawshank thing again, where he has the poster and he digs a hole in the wall. Now you don't go out and scatter your the rocks throughout the yard, which was regrettable.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have had a rock scattering scene.
I mean, it should have. I mean, if it's Shawshank.
But so anyway, and then you bust out. And while you're busting out, it's insane. You're running from cops. You're hiding.
At one point, Rocky got caught by a dog. He was getting chewed on.
Yeah, I was getting mauled by a damn Rottweiler.
Yep. I kept rolling. I mean, no man. I mean, I'm gonna leave him behind. If it's me or him, it's gonna be him every time.
Well, that's fucking true too, because he left I was getting mauled by that dog, and he was like, "Oh well, good luck," and he just rolled off. So then, while you're escaping, the first option comes there's two ways to attack the problem. When you're escaping, there's a bridge, so you can either go knock out a cop, steal his car, and drive across the bridge.
I should have let you talk me into that. We should have rolled with that.
Well, or you can go under the bridge and kind of sneak through. So
And my guy is scared of heights.
His guy's scared of heights. We're sneaking under this bridge on this catwalk that is just insane. And his guy's freaking out. But yeah, I'd like to go back and see what happens if you go steal that cop car and drive it across the bridge instead of just sneaking under there.
Yeah.
Because after we got to the other side, we kind of got caught by the cops.
Yeah.
And they were they weren't too happy. That's where Brent was caught, and I thought about running, but see, I didn't leave him behind.
He's lucky the shoe wasn't on the other foot.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So I didn't leave him behind, right? And then not 3 seconds later, I'm getting mauled by a dog, and he leaves me right behind. He just runs.
Hey, that's what you gotta do, man.
Friends like these, who needs enemies? That's all I'm saying. But and then it comes to another choice after that scene where there's this old couple in a house, and the old man's got a shotgun. And you can choose to either go in the house, tie them up, or try to lure them away from the house by you release their horses. It's a big farm. So we went the release the horses route.
Should have went my route.
Should have went his route.
All kinds of cops show up.
Yeah, they call the damn cops, and then you're sitting there and you see. So I'm wondering. That's where I'm wondering how much is it like Detroit? Because if you tie them up, do the cops not get called? And then you don't have this big... So after that, after they call the cops, we steal their truck, and then there's this huge chase.
Oh, yeah.
It's massive car chase. And this is where it kind of became like a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
So, at first you had like the Quantic Dream type Detroit Become Human button press stuff. Then Brent was in the back of the truck, and I was driving. And while I was driving, he was shooting at the cop cars.
Yeah, it was a really... It felt like I said, it felt really awesome, and it looked... I'm in the back. At one point, he gets hit or something, and my character... It looks like he's gonna fall out, and I got tap buttons to climb back in the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, it... But even before all that, when you're at the farm, you had to find gas. You had to find battery to repair the truck before you could even leave.
Yep.
And while you're there, you're trying to find a change of clothes to change out of your prison, uniform.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the whole time, we just talk about how fun this game was and how different it is.
We were having a blast.
Yeah.
We were having an absolute blast with it. And then you crash your truck. And then is the whitewater rafting scene that Brent was talking about.
It was intense.
It was really intense. And so you had, just to illustrate the co-op of it, you had to either one side or the other, you had to paddle. So if you were on the left side paddling, you would go to the right. If you were on the right side paddling, you go to the left. And you're trying to balance it out with your other teammate, and you got to just be in constant communication.
And it gets, the rapids get so strong that and eventually, both of you have to be on the same side, trying to stay away from the rocks because your canoe has damage, and if you damage too much, I think we died once.
Yeah, that was the only time we died in the whole game was when we busted our canoe up on a rock.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the thing about the game. It's not hard.
No,
it's not a hard game. It's got a great story. But the biggest kicker about it is it forces you to the co-op. It really forces you to work together, like no other game I've really played.
Yeah,
we played Army of Two.
Army of Two. Those. See, I really miss the co-op games like
couch
that.
co-op, man.
Yeah, even Resident Evil, was it 5?
Resident Evil 5 had couch co-op.
That was, we loved that, and I was even talking to Rocky about even if you go back to PS2. Me and another buddy of mine, we used to play the Lord of the Rings games because they were like that. They had the co-op. I was always the swordsman, and my other buddy was always the guy, the archer.
Yep.
And I really remember growing up on that type of game.
Well, and also just like going back to the Sega Genesis or the NES, Streets of Rage. You sit there and you play next to your buddy on the couch.
Yeah.
And that just there. You don't have that type of gaming anymore, and I really miss it because everybody. Brent and I, if we have if we have Battlefield or something, and he comes over, I'm like, oh well, all right, go home so we can play, co-op together.
Yeah, I just miss that. I mean, the multiplayer online is fun and stuff and all, but I just miss the way things used to be before all this. Like you said, the Army of Two. I mean that
was rare too. That was a rare game at that point, Army of Two, with the couch co-op. So there's nothing better than just going over to your buddy's house, playing a game together, and especially this one. So I'd highly, highly recommend this game. Yeah. Like I said, we haven't finished it yet, but A Way Out. Not a lot of people talking about the game again, and that's kind of what I'd like to do with this podcast. Is maybe a lot of people probably have played it, but maybe not everybody's played it. So that's kind of what we're going for here. Is okay, like the Quantic Dream stuff. We said, hey, well, not a lot of people play these games. You should try them out. So A Way Out is definitely one of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Highly recommend it. We won't give a score on it right now because we're not done with the game yet. Yeah, we don't know how the ending is. I'd assume we're about halfway through it.
Yeah.
Really, really fun though. So you got to play it. Especially get your buddy, come over your house. Order some pizza and play some co-op. That's the best way to do it. So, Brent, anything else you want to say about A Way Out?
I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I think that's it. I just hope we have enough time. Hopefully after the podcast we have a little bit of time to play it today. Yeah. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it.
It was a blast.
It really took me back to when we were younger and able to do all that before they changed all this crap. A little off topic, but I remember the last NASCAR game I bought.
Yeah.
I think I got so pissed off I gave it to Rocky, actually.
I probably have it.
I think it was like NASCAR 08.
Yeah.
Because I remember 99, you get on there, the two-player split screen, we tearing up Daytona. Well, anyway, I bought it, went to GameStop, came back home, turned it on, and it didn't have two-player. All it had was single-player and online. And I was so pissed off, I turned the game off, and I was like, here, just take it home.
Yeah, it's like my MLB 2K11 story.
Yep.
I buy the game, I come home, I play one game of MLB, and I turn the fucker off and never play it again.
Yep.
But yeah, so couch co-op, man, it's the way to go. So the next big thing that happened in gaming this week, and this podcast isn't always going to be about gaming. It's going to be about whatever we want to talk about, but E3 happened this week, and we're a little fired up about some stuff. It happened at E3, especially some Sony stuff. I'm probably going to get into some other stuff first, and then we'll save Sony for last.
Best for last.
Best for last. So Sony won. Sony won E3 for me. If anybody listening to this podcast disagrees with that, I'll make a post about the podcast. Just comment on there. Say why Microsoft won E3, or maybe you're a PC gamer. So this is, I heard I didn't even watch the PC thing because I have a little crappy laptop. Okay. But maybe the PC was better than expected. So give us a shout and see what if you watched E3, what you thought about it. But so first off, there was a couple things that Microsoft announced. We're not Xbox guys. We're PlayStation since PS1 days.
Oh yeah.
So me and Brent have been ride or die PlayStation for even through the PS3 days. At the beginning of the PS3, when there was no games.
Yeah.
We had our PS3.
Been Sony through and through. Although we're in Rockies, I look over and see an Xbox sitting here.
There is an Xbox sitting here.
I won't take a bat to it, but I won't.
There's an original Xbox. I got it so I could play Knights of the Old Republic and Fable. I mean, it's those are great games. But real quick story, a sidetrack here. PS3, when I got my PlayStation 3, I don't know if you remember this whole deal, Brent. My mom goes to Walmart to pick up my PS3, right? Brent is working at Walmart pushing buggies in high school.
Christmas present, wasn't it?
It was a Christmas present.
Yeah, because she told me.
And it was like the PS3 just came out. It was impossible to get.
Yeah, this was backwards compatibility. This was the one that you wanted to get.
Right. This was the 60 gig backwards compatible. Could play PS2 and PS1 games. Fun fact that not a lot of people know: all PS3s play PS1 games, so you can play your PS1 games on PlayStation 3. So my mom goes through all this trouble, goes out, gets the PlayStation, and at Walmart, Brent sees her on the way out, says hi to her. She shows him that she's all proud. She just got me this PlayStation 3, and it was all awesome. And so I had just started playing guitar that year, so it must have been when we were 18. It was like senior year of high school. I had just started playing guitar that year, and I asked Mom for a guitar that Christmas because I thought there's no way in hell that she could get a PlayStation 3, right? So I'm thinking, oh, there's no way she can get it. You know, it's $600 at launch with all this backwards compatibility. I'm thinking, my mom doesn't have $600. You know, we had to eat spaghetti every night. We barely had any money. But so I think I'm getting a guitar, like just a little $100 guitar, you know, whatever. So my mom wraps it up. She's pretty crafty. She does a lot of painting and stuff, but she makes this box. She makes cardboard in the shape of a guitar case, right? And it looks like that there's a guitar wrapped up under the Christmas tree. And so then about 2 weeks before Christmas, Mom's got this thing, and she's going to fool the crap out of me, right? So then about 2 weeks before Christmas, I'm talking to Brent, and I forget what you said to me.
I don't remember.
It was something to the effect of, "Oh, have fun with your PS3."
Oh.
So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Nothing. I didn't say anything." He said, "Don't tell your mom. Don't tell your mom I didn't say anything." So then I tell Mom about it, right? And you can see he's sitting there saying, "Don't tell your mom, don't tell your mom."
Boy.
So I run directly to my mom, of course. And I'm like, "Did you give me a PS3 for Christmas?" And she's like, No, whatever. So then she finally talked me down to where she had me completely convinced that I did not get a PS3, despite what Pickens said. And so then Christmas morning, well, we do it on Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve, I wake up, I roll in there, wait on Dad to get home from work. Dad gets home. We're going to open our presents. All right. Well, I'm an 18-year-old guy. But there's one present under the tree. There's nothing else under there. Maybe some socks. I don't know. So I fully expect at this point, because my mom talked me back down, I fully expect that I'm going to get a guitar. I open this thing up, and then I open the box, and my mom just starts laughing, you know. And 18, so I'm technically a grown man at this point. But I'm pretty sure I squealed like a little girl, you know, to get this PS3. And then I called Brent, you know, I was like, "You son of a bitch." You know. So then, you know, we got the PS3, and Brent and I both had it at that point, I believe. Brent took out a small loan on it, gave up his firstborn child to get one.
Yep. I regret it, but I took my PlayStation 2 and every single PS2 game I owned, and I had a small fortune there.
So, and then, you know, then he gets his PS3, and the first game he gets is Lair.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody remembers Lair.
Probably a lot of people do not.
We're getting off on a huge tangent here, but I don't care. So Lair is a game where you ride on the back of a dragon.
But this is when the 6-axis first come out.
6-axis controller.
So yeah, the controller. So they were all about the tilting, and you couldn't use the analog and stuff to fly. You had to tilt the controller.
Yeah, it was motion controls. Yeah, the whole thing.
It was wonky.
It was wonky as hell. But we're sitting there, and Brent bought a new TV just specifically so he could play the PS3. At first, we tried to play it on a tube TV, and it was just awful.
I'm like, these graphics aren't any better at all.
Yeah, this is just PS2. What's going on here? So, we put Larry in. He gets his new TV because he works at Big Sandy by that point.
Yep.
And Big Sandy Superstore. It's a furniture store around here for people that don't know.
Yep.
So he gets him a new TV with his employee discount. So he's already he's sacrificed his firstborn to get the PlayStation, and then he gets a TV to go on top of it. We go over there. We're all pumped. We're going to play Lair, and we hook it up to this HD TV, and it's like nothing we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like the greatest thing
We're crapping ourselves. This dragon's flying around eating guys.
You're flying over the ocean, and I mean, you can. We were just amazed by like how good the graphics looked.
Yeah, and everybody else had an Xbox 360 at this point.
Yeah.
We did not.
Like there was literally 2 people that had the PS3,
and it was us. Us two had the PS3 at this point. But so that just gives you a clue of how diehard Sony we are, really.
Yeah,
and they haven't really let us down. Look at this year. I mean, Detroit, Become Human, Sony Interactive, God of War.
Yeah,
I mean. The Last of Us on PS3, I mean, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't argue it, man. It's an awesome thing. So, so back to Microsoft did have a couple things. They announced the Battletoads is coming back. They didn't really show anything for it, but Battletoads, for those who don't know, is it's an old NES game, Nintendo, original Nintendo game. One of the hardest games ever invented. There's this cycle bike section where you're on a hover bike, and it's so fast that it's impossible to react to. But the Battletoads are cool, man. There's a meme around. Do you have Battletoads or whatever?
I like to see them bring older stuff that you kind of hadn't thought about in years.
If they do it right.
Yeah, if they do it right.
Yeah.
Which time will tell.
So that's all cool. And then I believe it was Microsoft where they talked about Cyberpunk 2077, which, for those who don't know, it is the new game from CD Projekt Red, who is the developer that brought us the Witcher series.
Which we all know how great that,
Witcher 3
was.
Witcher 3 is probably... It was my favorite game on PlayStation 4 until God of War came out. But I still put it as tied.
Yeah. It's
this huge open world set in the Witcher universe. You battle monsters. You take up contracts. If you haven't played The Witcher 3 and you're listening to this podcast, just turn it off.
Yeah,
and go buy The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I mean, if you hadn't played it yet, there's something wrong, because I mean, it's been everywhere.
Yeah.
People's been talking about it. I mean, it's a really good play.
Yeah, I mean, I got it right over there. But yeah, so Cyberpunk 2077 is a new game from them, and it's set in the future in the year 2077. And it looks like basically the world has gone to shit. Yeah. By 2077. And for those who don't know about the cyberpunk aesthetic, it's kind of like it's like real neon colors. Again, I'm going to talk about Blade Runner. I guess I'm just going to talk about Blade Runner every week, the movie Blade Runner. But the Blade Runner had a really cyberpunk feel. It's it's a dystopian future, so the world's kind of gone to hell, but there are, a lot of hackers and a lot of computer stuff, and that's the cyber punk version of it. So cyberpunk's kind of like a term for that. So you also probably heard of steampunk. Steampunk is like a futuristic dystopian future, but it's basically if the gasoline engine was never invented and everything ran off steam, and it's really like technical gadgets and stuff like that. So just the fact, they didn't show much of it, but apparently, The Witcher 3 was third person, over the shoulder type game, and this one is going to be a first person game. So I don't know if you call it a first person shooter, but they talked about it like it's a first person RPG game. So I guess kind of like Elder Scrolls or Fallout. But in those games, Fallout and Elder Scrolls, you have the ability to look at it third person. In this one, it's going to be all first person. So
I don't know how I feel about that.
yeah, so Brent and I aren't really into the first person shooter genre.
I don't know. I just like I'm big on liking to see everything because that's my biggest problem with first person is because really all you see is straight ahead and the sides a little bit. That's why I like third person because you can see all the way around.
They haven't really mastered the first person thing yet.
No.
They don't really have peripheral vision in the whole thing. It doesn't look like you're looking through the eyes of someone. But, in first person shooters, it's just the wasteland out there of 1,000 first person shooters that everybody plays. And, yeah, we like a game with a story, like we said last week, and these first person shooters don't have it. But this one will.
Yeah.
It's, because it's from CD Projekt Red, you're in good hands. It's like when Naughty Dog comes out with something.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good.
Naughty Dog is never going to let you down. They've never let me down yet from Crash Bandicoot forward. I mean, they've never had a bad game.
No.
So, and so the Microsoft, that's kind of all I really cared about.
Yeah, I can't remember anything else that actually jumped out that I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about, kind of going through a couple of crappy ones before we get to the good stuff, but Nintendo. So Nintendo comes out there, and it's a Nintendo Direct. So in case everybody that doesn't follow Nintendo, they have a Nintendo Direct like every 3 months. Like they announce a new game, whatever. That's how they announced Mario Tennis Aces. Was a Direct about 6 months ago. And they just have them at random times, So Nintendo comes out with this Direct and talk about Pokemon a little bit, which I like the Pokemon games. Brent never got into them. I'm a pretty big Pokemon guy. And then they talk about Smash Brothers, the new Smash Brothers, for like half an hour. And then you're thinking, okay, here's where we're going to get into some cool stuff. Metroid Prime 4. They're going to talk about it. It's going to be awesome. And it's over. So all they announced was Smash Brothers Ultimate, which apparently Brent was telling me that the only really thing cool about it is they're going to have all of the characters that were in Smash Brothers before.
Yeah, they'll have any of them that's been in any of them. But that's all I got out. I mean,
And I'll get hate for this, but I've never understood Smash Brothers. I've just never understood it.
Yeah,
I feel like you just roll up in there and it's just button mashing. You just mash B and you mash A, and then you get lucky and somebody gets thrown out of the ring. And it's just people like it because the characters in it are Nintendo characters. So, I don't really care about that. I do care about Metroid Prime 4. That's going to be an awesome game. They've already come out with Zelda and Mario for the Switch.
I'm pretty excited about the Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis is great. I also want them to come back with Mario Golf.
Yeah.
Because I loved Mario Golf on the 64. It was really awesome. But Nintendo, man, it's like a half-hour show. Everybody else is doing like an hour, 2 hours. It's a half-hour show, Nintendo. So the thing is about Nintendo, though, people freak out about that. They're saying, oh, it's just a half-hour show. That sucked. Their E3 sucked. Well, Nintendo doesn't really work that way. Nintendo they have a Direct every 3 months. So if they want to announce something, it's going to be, in 3 months, they'll just have another Direct. It's like their E3. They have an E3 every 3 months, So I'm not too worried about Nintendo. The Switch is a pretty awesome system. I know Brent's son, Hunter, is just obsessed with it.
Oh, yeah. He tries to take it everywhere with us. He's all about a Switch.
Yeah, the first thing he does when he wakes up, he goes and gets his Switch.
Oh, yeah.
And I joked with him the other day that I was going to take his Switch home, and
he wasn't having it.
He was not having it. So Switch really, they hit their market. It's for kids. and the kids love it. So, you know, Nintendo's doing their job. And he's a big fan of the Lego games, right?
Well, all right, this is a little off topic, but the Lego I think it's
Lego City Undercover.
Yeah, Undercover. That, you know, I really liked it, and if you got kids like I do, that you know, you want to keep them away from Grand Theft Auto because you don't want them playing that. But this is really the kids' version of Grand Theft Auto. You can steal cars. You know, you're driving a car around, you're hitting something. There's Lego pieces falling off of it. Hunter was driving a bus the other day, and all he had was 4 wheels and like the bottom of it. You know, and it's a really good, clean game for kids, and you know that you don't have to, because I know everybody's like my oldest, he wants Grand Theft Auto. Well, this last one they put out, it's pretty bad. You know, with the cussing and everything. So that's kind of, you know, if you have kids, I really and you can get it on. I think PS4 has it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on Xbox everywhere.
Yeah, everything has it. So it's a really good, clean game, and I got into it myself. Yeah. It's a fun game to play.
Lego Batman. The first Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Star Wars is amazing. So, if you have kids.
Yeah, the Lego games.
I'm sure you probably already know about them if you have kids. But, yeah, the Lego games are safe. You know, you know your kids are in good hands. So anyway, moving on here from Nintendo, because Nintendo is just going to do them. And they don't really care about what the other companies are doing. The next one I wanted to talk about was Bethesda. So there's a big thing here in West Virginia about Fallout 76. It's a big uproar, and I'm one of those people.
It's blowing up. It's all over the news. There was it's got everything. It's
got the state capitol.
I'm like,
it's got Woodburn Hall from WVU.
I mean, everybody's blowing up about it.
I'm blowing up too. See, this is where me and Brent are going to disagree.
He is. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll buy it. I'll play it. But to me, it is Fallout 4. They've added a few things, changed the scenery, but it's Fallout 4. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be cool to see landmarks and all this in West Virginia. But I want to know, who the hell, if you're a video game, if you have a chance for Colorado, Nevada, I know it's already been done, but whatever. We're going to pick West Virginia because we have landmarks.
Well, I think it's because, the whole...
We got a bridge.
Oh, boy.
A bridge.
Oh, boy. See, well, I think they picked that because...
They got the roads accurate. That's about the only thing they got.
No, I mean, oh, boy. Okay. Well, so there are a lot of nuclear-related secrets in West Virginia. We have a lot of hills. At the Greenbrier, there's a presidential bunker.
Well, see, I didn't know about that until the other day.
Yeah,
now that's kind of neat.
I think that was the whole start of it. Was there's the Greenbrier Resort and there's a PGA event there every year. Tiger Woods has been there. The Greenbrier Resort has this old bunker that used to be a presidential lockdown during like the Nixon and Reagan eras, clear back to like Eisenhower. It was like a nuclear fallout. It really makes sense for that to be in the Fallout game,
Well, and my biggest gripe with it is it's just going to be multiplayer. I know they'll have a single, but they're not going to have a single player campaign, and that kind of brings it down a little bit for me. But I mean, I'll get it because how often do you have a game made out of your state? That your state's going to be in it, and that's something that just don't happen. And I think it's going to give. Hopefully, it brings a little bit better side to West Virginia because everybody thinks you're backwoods hick, screwing your cousin,
Wow.
But and I know it's been all over the news. They've been talking about it, and the landmarks. I mean, the screenshots I've seen, it looks really good.
Yep.
So my biggest gripe with it, like I said, is just where it's not going to have a single player campaign.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll get it. I'll get on there and play online with Rock and whoever else has it.
See, and I'm rallying a crew right now. So if my buddy Mitch, if you're listening, we're going on Fallout 76. We're going to dominate. My wife is going to hate me because I'm just going to play. I'm going to be consumed in Fallout 76. I might take a week off work. I don't know. But we're going hard on Fallout 76, and I'm getting a crew together. So
where you at, Nero?
Oh God, we'll have to tell that story another day with our buddy Nero online, our former buddy Nero.
We had a falling out.
I don't look that man up, but so Bethesda, they don't talk about much. They just talk about Fallout 76, and it's not a very good conference. I don't like Bethesda's conference up until the end. And so there's a game called Starfield that they're coming out with, and it's basically Skyrim in space. Then they also throw up Elder Scrolls 6. Now here's my problem with all this, right? Everybody, I'm sitting there watching a live stream and I'm looking at the comments. Up to this point, oh, this conference is crap. There's no good games. This was the worst conference of E3. Then they show a screenshot of a title of a game. 2 games. Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6. Don't get me wrong. I love Skyrim. And Skyrim in space, I'm in. It's like Mass Effect. Mass Effect's great. Elder Scrolls 6. I'm going to neglect my firstborn child for that. But whenever that happens in 6 years when they come out with it. So, but then... so everybody's like, oh, this conference is crap. They throw up those 2 screenshots. Don't show any gameplay. Don't show any... There's no trailer. It's not even a CG trailer. They throw up the 2 screenshots, and then everybody's like, oh, best E3 conference. Bethesda just won E3.
Well, and to me, that's just like... To me, it'd almost be better not even to throw anything up there. Because that's basically being like, well, we don't have shit, but... Here's to an idea that will,
Yeah.
I mean, you've had all year to plan for it. You can't come up with something better than that.
Yeah, you can't come up with 5 minutes. Just a screenshot of the Dragonborn in Elder Scrolls 6. You know what I mean? Put Skyrim footage up and put Elder Scrolls 6 over top of it. I don't care. But yeah, they showed us nothing, and everybody was just freaking out about it. It's insane. So Bethesda, aside from 2 screenshots, not a good conference. It's not a good conference. It wasn't as bad as Square Enix. Square Enix didn't show shit enough to where we're not even talking about it. Ubisoft, don't care anymore.
Ubisoft. Now, okay. This is gonna be really short.
Yep.
We're watching it, and watching it online, and I'm telling you. Like, there's nothing going on, and then they show Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. This is Sparta. I don't know what it's called.
Well, whatever it is, and I'm like, this is the same damn game.
Odyssey.
And then they're like, oh, but wait, you can pick between this character or this character, and then the crowd goes nuts. They're like, oh my god, you just blew our mind. I'm like,
these crowds at E3. Where do they get these people?
I don't know.
Where do they get these people?
And man, I used to be a big Assassin's Creed guy. I loved
the
Black
first
Flag.
3 games. Black Flag was
Black
great.
Flag was by far my favorite. But then I just it's been
I just can't care about Ubisoft anymore.
No.
Square Enix showed nothing. I love Square Enix. They have Final Fantasy, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They didn't show anything except Kingdom Hearts. I couldn't even give 1 shit about Kingdom Hearts.
Those are some long games though.
Yeah.
Steve let me borrow the second one. I think it was the first one on PS2.
I don't know. There's so many different versions of it. There's like 1, 1.5, 1.1, 1.2.
Like, I played 3 hours, and then all of a sudden the introduction thing came out. So I was like, what the hell is this?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, don't care about those 2. Here's what me and Brent care about. Now, it's Sony. We're Sony fanboys. We just said it.
Yeah.
I just told a 30-minute long story about how I got my PlayStation 3. A console that nobody else besides me and Brent even gives a darn about.
Yep.
So they roll out and they show The Last of Us 2. Now, I said I was going to save it to last, but let's get into it. Let's just get into it.
All right. I don't know why you had to make Ellie a lesbian.
Well, that doesn't matter, though. I mean, you know.
Anyway.
In the Brent thought he had a shot with Ellie.
I did. I mean, I was practically, in there, and then they just...
He was practically in
and then
there
they just...
with a digital character.
Yeah. She's real. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Real-ish.
Oh, she's based on Ellen Page, I guess.
Whoa. No, she's not based on Ellen Page. There's no similarities at all there. It's a different voice.
According to Naughty Dog, there's no similarity, which she does look a lot different in this.
Well, I think they had to change
They had to change it because Ellen Page was going to get pissed.
But let's be honest, Naughty Dog. That's Ellen Page.
That's Ellen Page in that Last of Us game. Come on now. So it is kind of weird how they did it. We'll get into that in a second. But so they come out. I think the conference is starting. I think, and then they play Last of Us 2. So, it starts out. You don't know who this girl is because it looks nothing like Ellen Page.
Yeah, I thought it was a different game.
So this girl is at a dance that they're having, and this Asian character walks up to her and says, "Oh, your old man gave me a hard time today." And she's like, "Oh, well, you know, he'll do that." Well, later we find out that is Ellie, and she was talking about Joel.
Yeah, and Nadia, where the hell is Joel at?
Where is Joel? They didn't show him in this whole thing.
This is bothering me.
That's Brent's boy.
My boy. We go way back.
He goes way back. Somehow he's Joel's boy, and he wants to get with Ellie.
Well, it's not like Ellie's his daughter. I mean, that'd be weird.
Oh boy. Okay. I don't know where this podcast has gone here, but anyway. So then, this other girl comes over to her and does some weird shit where she makes her smell her armpit. Says, "How bad do I smell right now?" Right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that was really weird.
She was like, "You like it?" I was like, "No, I don't." Anyway, so then this girl starts making out with Ellie. This is where Brent just lost it because he's like, "No, my shot is gone."
Yeah, I just didn't know what was going on. And
so then it flash cuts in her mind back to something that she had done before, I'm assuming, where she's stabbing a guy in the neck in the middle of the woods, which was awesome.
Wow, and then the scene, there's just so many like people coming at her.
Yeah.
And
well, so it's, you know, the whole demo, it starts out, she's stabbing the guy. She sneaks around a little bit, and she sees this crazy, like, cult people stabbing a guy and then hanging him. So it's really weird to start off with. Funny thing, too, Brent and I both noticed, no clickers, no zombies.
No, I mean, it's all like just bad people, like bad human beings just trying to kill.
And maybe all the clickers have died out. I think they just not showing them for that. Like, they didn't show Joel, they're not showing the clickers. I'm sure there's going to be some new stuff, not just clickers, some new.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, and I think the thing I think's cool about it, like Joel was more of like a brutal guy. Like he's gonna be fist fighting. Well, even in the first Last of Us, when you're Ellie,
and Ellie was just a kid.
She was little, you know, so she couldn't straight up fight somebody. But on this one now, she's not a brawler, but she uses other things. You know, like at one point she runs up, she shoots somebody with a bow, then runs up. And there's a bottle laying there, throws a brick at his head.
Yep.
You know, and I think it looks like they kind of changed her combat style. So I think it's going. She's not going to overpower anybody, but I think she's going to use other things.
She's more brutal now. That's for damn sure.
And she has a knife. She just stabs the shit out of people. So I don't know that scene where she's running and there's just like 15 or 20 people coming.
Yeah, and that's so she sneaks around for a little bit. She kills a couple people, and then she gets caught by somebody. Well, then she just takes off sprinting.
Yeah,
and there's bullets whizzing by,
and the breathing when she does stop.
And it's crazy because she gets like nicked in the shoulder, and you really like feel it.
Yeah,
You know,
oh,
most
yeah.
games you get shot, you just keep going. You know, you're like a tank. This one, she got shot a little bit, and she really felt it. And then later, when she's hiding behind a car, she gets shot with an arrow, and it's like she goes down, like,
Yeah.
and it's stuck in her shoulder. The arrow gets stuck in her shoulder, and then she runs away for a little bit, and then later pulls the arrow out, which was really awesome. So getting shot in this game really matters.
Yeah.
Just you know, Brent and I played through the first one on hard,
Yeah.
and your bullets. I mean, you had like 3 bullets the whole game.
Yeah.
So you know, bullets really matter, and getting shot now really matters. It looks like. So then she's hiding under a car or truck.
Yeah. When she's under that car, man, like you feel that because the person walks up and just grabs her, starts dragging her out, and like I don't know, it really puts you. It looks like it's really gonna put you into character, and you're gonna really feel the stuff they're going through.
Yeah. So you know, and then it gets into a little confrontation inside of a store that looked a lot like the first game,
Yeah.
where she was sneaking around. She uses an exploding tip arrow and just dominates a guy.
Yep.
And then it flashes back to the party where she's still kissing the girl, and then she stops kissing her and smiles, and then that's the demo.
But at one point, the one girl says something like, "Well, something about everybody's looking at you or something."
Yeah, and then she's like, "Well, everybody's looking at you," and she's like, "I'm just a girl." Ellie says, "I'm just a girl. There's nothing to be jealous of." And then the other girl says, "Oh, I think they have a lot to be jealous of." That's when she kisses her the first time. So yeah.
And it says something about being scared of her, or they should be.
Yeah.
And
That just meant that she was because she was a lesbian. But, so anyway, Last of Us 2. I mean, it's a pre-order purchase for us. It's not even a day one purchase. It's like, if I can pre-order it,
yeah.
I will.
Does it? Do you know? Did you see a release date on that yet?
No,
See,
I
that's-
didn't see anything.
Man, see, it's gonna kill me if it's another year. Cause it's already this is the 3rd year,
Yep.
and like, man, I really love that first game. I re-downloaded it again. I'm probably gonna start playing it again.
Yeah.
Just because I love the feel for it, and I mean it's just a great game.
So yeah, Last of Us 2 gonna be great, obviously. So this is where Sony gets a little weird in their conference. I think Brent watched it live with me.
Yep.
It starts out in this like church-like building, right? And then they're like, "Oh, well, you think the Last of Us 2 demo gets done, and you think, okay, we're gonna get some more games now." Well, they have a big intermission while everybody goes inside.
Yeah, I didn't understand the church thing either.
Well, because it was exactly like the opening scene in The Last of Us 2. Yeah. But then they made everybody file out of it and then file into another theater. And it's like a half-hour intermission while they're trying to do this. So people at home are sitting there watching like, what the hell is going on? They're having an interview with the Sony president guy, which I don't care about because he's not saying anything that he hasn't already said.
Yeah.
So then we go over, everybody gets settled down. And we see the other game that Brent's really excited for, the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yes.
Which Brent didn't know that was coming. I knew it had been coming for a while.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even know what... You see the rats on the shelf, I was like, what is this? And then Rock texted me, he's like, is this Resident Evil 2? And I started watching it, and I was like, it is!
Yeah.
Because I've been a big fan of the Resident Evil game, especially 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Like 4 and 5 were probably my favorite that was on PS3.
Well, and I like Resi 2 as well, so I'm glad they're remaking.
Well, it's been such a long time since I played 2.
Yeah.
So I don't remember a whole lot, but
it's a more 5 was some kind of crazy action game. 2 is more of a like corridor. It's a lot more like the first one. But so. Yeah, we're excited about that.
Oh yeah,
got the Raccoon City PD badge and everything. Looked really cool. So the next game I want to talk about is Spider-Man, the new PS4 Spider-Man. We've seen gameplay for this one before. Pretty legit. I mean, it's going to be an awesome game. Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2 is my favorite Spider-Man game.
I was getting ready to say something about it because it really, the open world, it kind of gives you, it kind of takes you back, to the, that's almost like to the PS2.
Yeah, and I think I had it for GameCube.
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah.
See, I had it for PS2, and I mean, I had a lot of fun with it, because I remember you were web slinging, and you got to take pictures to whatever. But.
Yeah, the web slinging in the game was awesome, and now it looks like they're kind of adopting that for this game. Yeah. It looks really cool. And you can run along walls and, all that stuff, too. So that's going to be awesome. I don't really have too much to say about that. It's just going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So then, Death Stranding. The new Kojima game.
Kojima? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great. It looked awesome. Well, what the hell are you doing with babies?
Norman Reedus in there.
I mean, it looked like you're just a courier, just delivering shit. But
it did look. People were making the joke that it was a walking simulator.
I mean, it looked spectacular. The water when he's walking, everything looked awesome. But I mean, how long before we know what?
We're not going to know what this game is about until it's released and we play the game. And then after you play the game, you're still not going to know what it's about, but you're going to say, that was one of the best damn games I've ever played in my life.
Well, I mean, you're probably right.
You're going to say, I don't know what the hell that was, but damn if that Kojima is not a genius, and that was one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
All I want to know is what the hell that girl ate.
I think it was some sort of bug.
It freaked me out.
I don't know. At the end, she ate something, but nobody knows what this game's about.
Well, do babies power them?
There's something about a regeneration. If you die, like you explode, like because he said you'll be alive, sure, but there'll be a crater if you die. Like, well, what are you exploding for? I guess you're regenerating yourself. See, here's the thing, though. People are acting like that this crazy stuff is some new thing for Kojima. If you are a Metal Gear Solid fan like I am, even back to Metal Gear on the Nintendo Entertainment System, it's the wackiest. I mean, there's a vampire in Metal Gear Solid 2.
No.
He flips, he flies. There's a boss on roller skates who's throwing bombs at you.
Yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid 3, there's a guy who's so old that if you pause the game for a week, he dies. As you boss fight him. When you fall down into a river in Metal Gear Solid 3, one of the bosses is a ghost. It's complete insanity. In Metal Gear Solid 4, Raiden, the guy you played as in Metal Gear Solid 2, got blown up, has no legs, but now he's some sort of cybernetic ninja with a sword that takes down these big robot type gecko things that they call geckos. So I ask you, why are you surprised that this nutty ass stuff is from Kojima? Because it's going to be nutty. We're not going to understand it as Americans because it's the most Japanese thing. He's the most Japanese person ever.
Oh yeah.
He's probably on their dollar bill. Hideo Kojima is probably on the 1 yen, or what, but it's Kojima, so you can't doubt him.
Oh, it's going to be good. I mean, it's just going to be good. But like I said, you won't know what the hell it's about until you sit down and beat it. And then you probably still won't know what's going on.
There's going to be 1,000 YouTube think pieces about the game.
Yeah.
And what it's about. So, it's basically, all we know about it right now is Norman Reedus is a delivery guy, and he walks around with shit, and there's some crazy black ghost things that leave they're not the handprints, they leave handprints in the sand. And then there's some lady that tells you that shushes you, and then there's some lady that comes at the end of the game and says, you don't know who I am, do you?
But everybody in the crowd was all about her.
I don't even know who it was, but I still didn't know what was going on. But it's Kojima, man. I love the guy to death. Metal Gear Solid is the best series of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's for me anyway. There's no doubt about that. But so Death Stranding, we'll find out when we play it.
Yeah, who knows?
It's Norman Reedus with a baby. I got nothing. So we're going to close out here E3. We just went over an hour. The game of the show for me. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Game of the show. Apparently it had been announced before, but I missed it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it.
So it's called Ghost of Tsushima. I believe is how it's Tsushima. Not sure exactly how it's pronounced. But it starts out, the wind is blowing. It's this beautiful scene of forest meets, grass.
I don't know why the guy had to play the flute for an hour.
Well, okay, so I was screaming about that, cultural appropriation, because the guy is not Japanese at all, and he's playing this, traditional Japanese instrument. Turns out, I was looking on Reddit later, and it turns out that guy is one of 5 people in the world who are considered to be a master of that flute.
Oh, really?
He is a bona fide master and one of 5 people, and I'm assuming the other 4 are Japanese.
Well,
so they got the one white guy, but I mean,
what are you gonna do?
Apparently he was full out samurai garb, but whatever. Anyway, so the guy plays a flute. It's all right, whatever. That's another thing about this Sony conference. They had all this music.
Yeah, I don't know why you gotta do that for.
At random
just go
times.
show the damn game.
It was kind of cool. The guy came out for The Last of Us with his banjo guitar and played The Last of Us music, which was, I like that music.
Yeah.
But Ghost of Tsushima. It starts out as this beautiful scene with the forest, and the samurai walks out. You don't really know what's going on. Well, he rides to the top of this hill. He calls his horse. Rides to the top of this hill, and the whole thing opens up, and you can see off crazy into the distance. The game is beautiful.
Yeah.
And
even when he's stepping in the mud.
He's stepping in the mud. There's footprints and all this stuff. So, what it looks like to me is The Witcher 3 with samurai.
Yes.
So then the guy goes off and he rides into the forest, and somebody's in trouble. So he goes and looks at them and finds these guys kill another guy. So he fights these people. This is where you see the sword play.
It's spectacular.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The guy, you have your sword in the sheath or whatever they call it for the samurai sword. This guy runs at you, and all in one swift motion, you take your sword out of the sheath and just strike it across his chest, and just he's dead right there, one strike, which is really cool because in samurai battles, it wasn't this big long drawn out sword fight. Usually these fights are one stroke and they're dead. So then he just proceeds to slash the shit out of these guys.
Yeah.
And one of them's laying on the ground screaming for his life, and he just walks up to him and just runs the sword right through his chest while he's standing on the ground. And then this lady comes up to you who is apparently another samurai, right? Yep. And so then we just got through the fighting portion of the game, and then they show the stealth portion of the game. So this guy sneaks up on this temple, and he uses a grappling hook to get on top of the roof, which was really cool. Then it took from the Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight series Batman games. You're in the rafters, and you jump down, stab a guy, and then I don't know if you remember, Brent, but in Batman, you jump down, got a guy, and then you could select 3 or 4 people around to get, knock. Batman obviously doesn't kill him, but so you jump down, stab this guy through the neck, and then look around, and you can select guys and go. You kill one, you kill another. Yep. Really awesome. He has this, the small sword, that I forget what they call the samurai, the small sword that the samurai have. So then there's this guy that's blowing a horn to get reinforcements, and you stab him through the little paper door, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
So it's all to save this priest, and then the lady that you thought was with you comes up and says, "Oh, I'm killing the priest now." So then you have this fight with her, and this is where I just lost it at this point, because you're under this tree with these red leaves, and the whole thing is just there's. I saw an interview with the people who made the game. There are 300,000 red leaves on the screen at that point, right? Which is just insane. There's red leaves everywhere. The Mongol hordes are riding up on you. You can hear them like the thunder of their hoofs on the ground. And you have this samurai fight with this lady. And then you beat her, and instead of killing her, you turn towards the Mongols and she fights with you. So, and then that's the end of the demo.
Yeah.
So Brent, overall thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima?
That, to me, that's a must buy.
Yep.
Like it looks like they got the stance so right when they're fighting. It's a typical samurai. Yeah, the stance, the way they hold the sword. Like I said, it's just visually, it's a beautiful looking game. I mean it.
Yeah, and they had this grass field at the start of the game. And there were actually individual pieces of grass that you could ride through. I did see an interview with the people after, again, it's like an hour-long interview, but the people who made the game. And it was Sucker Punch Studios, the guys who made the, what's the damn game with the guy that's the electric?
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I don't know why we can't remember
Infamous,
that.
wasn't it?
Infamous. They made the Infamous games. It was a Sucker Punch Studio.
Yep.
Apparently, anywhere you see in that demo, you can go eventually. So you can ride anywhere you want to go. Apparently, this whole thing takes place on a big island. The island itself is called Tsushima Island. So you can explore the whole island. So anywhere in that map, you can go, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, sorry, I interrupted your overall thoughts.
No, you're all right. No, I really like that. That'll be a day one get. I mean, and like I said, I don't think that has a release date either. I don't remember, but
I can't remember. I was so blown away by the trailer that I didn't even look for a release date. I didn't care. I was just
it looks like you said best. To me it looks like The Witcher 3 with Samurai. I mean it. And hopefully, like I wonder if it's going to be like an RPG or if it's going to be one of those, just
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool if you could get different. You could upgrade your samurai sword.
Well, I think you can. They said there's different outfits. There's different stuff, and you learn new abilities as the game goes on. Like apparently the grappling hook thing, you won't have that at the beginning of the game. Because the story of it is he's a traditional samurai, but then these Mongols start invading, and he realizes he's going to have to do some non-traditional stuff to beat them. So that's when you get the grappling hook and all this stuff.
I'm definitely gonna get it. I mean, it looked.
So that was the game of E3 for me.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And between that, The Last of Us, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Spider-Man. I know Sony didn't show any new games. That's people's big knock about them. But I don't care because their games are awesome.
A lot of the other ones didn't show new games either. Just because you throw a title up and... Okay, well, I'd rather than put something out there to show you some gameplay of it or something on that aspect than just throw a title up and be like, well, we don't have actually any new crap, but this is an idea.
Yeah, I mean, so at least Sony showed, and Sony's done that before.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sony's thrown up Last of Us 2 last year, and then didn't do anything with it. But this year they just showed what they had, and I really like that. So So overall, for me, Sony just crushed everybody else at E3, just like they did last year, just like they did the year before. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what I think. Brent's kind of the same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely, 100% with you.
So anyway, that's our whole thoughts on E3. There, we only really talked about the games we care about, and as you can see, most of them were Sony. Especially since we have a PlayStation 4, we're going to be able to play all these. We're really excited.
And like Rock said earlier, I mean, if you don't agree with the games we talked about, I mean, if we're missing one, comment on our page. Say, hey, I mean, it could have got through the thing. We may have just missed it. But if there's any game that jumped out that you felt that we missed, let us know. We'll look it up. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week or something. Yeah. But anyways, guys, that's our show for this week, the Couch Thoughts Podcast. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about yet, but we'll figure it out this week. We'll probably let you know on Facebook. Go over to Facebook. Look us up, the Couch Thoughts Podcast. On Twitter, at Couch Thought Pod, no S in there. And then, we're on Podomatic and iTunes. I will say one thing. Podomatic's having a little bit of an issue with their RSS feed getting over to iTunes. So if you listen on iTunes normally, I probably won't post the iTunes link this week. So please just listen to it on Podomatic.com. Our website is couchthoughts.podomatic.com. I'll post a link to that on our Facebook. You can always find me on Twitter at Rocky Persinger. And then Brent, what's your Twitter again? You don't remember? Brent Pickens something. Anyway, I'm at Rocky Persinger. So tweet me or at Couch Thought Pod. Anyways, guys, that's been the episode for this week. Thanks for listening. Later.